Welcome to the High Level Human Podcast, a production of the James McGee Show. With your host, James McGee. He pulls no punches. He's in your face, and he keeps it real. Join him for candid discussions about life, leadership, and living the life of a high-level human.
Good evening, all you high-level humans. Welcome back to the High Level Human Podcast. I'm your host. I am James McGee. Welcome to the first episode of Wine Wednesday. Wine Wednesday will be under 15 minutes, and we'll be talking about bullshit, talk about life, just whatever we want to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about. So to give you a history of Wine Wednesday, of why I chose Wine Wednesday, and I'll tell you what wine this is in a little while, and tell you, I'm going to tell you why I chose this wine, because this is a wine that my daughter and I started drinking a couple years ago. I have a 21-year-old daughter. She's a senior in college. She'll graduate in a few months, doing very well. Well, like any typical teenager, she doesn't communicate with her parents and to talk to them. You know how it is. Teenagers, just life. It's just how it is. So the summer after her freshman year in college, she was 19. First off, I'm going to tell you, in the state of Louisiana, where I live, and where we would drink wine, it is legal for a 19-year-old, anybody 18 and up, to drink with their parents at their house. That's Louisiana law. Wasn't breaking the law. So that summer, I drank wine. I started drinking wine probably about 10 years ago. Like I said last night on Two Finger Tuesday, I don't drink a lot. I'm a 2 to 3 drink a week person. I feel strong whether it is whiskey, whether it's wine, whether it's coffee, whether it's tea. When you sit down and talk to someone over a glass, you just get things done, or you just have good conversation because it's casual. People are relaxed. And look, if it's wine or whiskey, it's not because you're intoxicated. I drink one glass, and we would split a bottle between her. My wife would participate sometimes, and we would drink a bottle. So that summer, when she was home, she worked where I did for the summer. And when we would get home, we'd eat supper. And then we'd come out here where I am right now, either on my patio, which is right to the right of me, or right here by a pool in the table that I'm sitting at. We would drink a bottle of Bonanza. So any wine that I'm going to drink, what we're also going to do on Wine Wednesday is we're going to, I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking and talk about it. And they'll always be under $20 bottles. And every week will be something different. And I'll give you my take on, I have mastered probably around the $15 bottle. So I know some pretty good ones, and I want to share those with you so you can try them out for yourself. So we would go out either here or on patio, and we would have a glass or two of wine. What that did, can you imagine a 19-year-old and you said, hey, why don't you let's go and have a conversation. Let's go talk. How do you think that's going to go? Well, when it's over a glass of wine, the conversation just happens. You're not putting them on the spot. You're not saying, hey, we need to talk, or we have this problem, or this is what you need to do. Well, I'm saying that because that's the kind of person I was. And I had to learn. I had to do a course correction several years ago with my son and with her, because that's not how it works. That's how we think it works sometimes, or maybe it should work, but it just doesn't work that way. Your kids are not going to just communicate with you like that. When you say, okay, you tell me what's going on. Well, it's like any other, it's no different than leadership. And if you're a leader and you're dealing with employees and you're dealing with other human beings, it's no different. When you're a parent, you're a leader. You're a leader of your family. You're a leader of your kids. Well, we know a good leader knows that you are not going to just force conversations out of people. You have to build a relationship. And you say, okay, she's 19, y'all should have a relationship. Well, it's a little different. Once they go to college and once they get independent, now you're dealing with they're still your child, but you're dealing with an adult. So now you have to form, it's a different relationship now. So what that did that summer was allow her to see me a little different. Now, still her parent, wasn't trying to be her friend. Somewhat was, it was just different. You know what I did? I treated her like an adult because she is an adult. So I treated her like an adult, and she recognized that. And we're having a glass of wine. So I was pretty strict. I'm not saying neither of my kids drank in their teenage years, but it wasn't with my permission, and I was pretty strict on that. But when I allowed it, it said something. It told her, "Hey, I recognize that you're an adult, and you can have drink socially." And me having that, because I did drink, but I didn't drink in front of my kids. My kids have never seen me intoxicated, and I'm not criticizing anybody that does. It's just a personal stance of mine. So for me to have a glass or two of wine with her in front of her told her, "Hey, I recognize that you're an adult." Man, what that did was, I mean, she really opened up on some things. We would just have adult conversations, and she is an intelligent person, but she was never one to just talk and to give her opinion. And I realized how much during that summer she was always with us. She was always with my wife and I. She was born an adult. She was never a child, but she was always just sitting in the background a little bit, and she didn't say much. Well, that summer I realized how much she listened. Now, some of it wasn't. I probably said some things in front of her during her life that I shouldn't have said, and I realized that then. But man, she really listened. She was listening. She picked up some things, and she really. I learned that she did have respect for us. She did respect our life experiences, and she did listen when we didn't think she was. But again, can you imagine if I just said, "Hey, let's go talk"? That's just not gonna work. But because I said, "Hey, let's have a glass of wine," and we would just sit there, and the conversation would just happen. Then when that happens, I'm a real big advocate, and I've studied the indirect approach, and I started studying that as being a leader, because at one point in my life, man, I was just direct. And I thought, man, I just need to be direct. Well, what I learned by studying that, when you go direct and you just immediately start direct, man, you can't back up. You went 0 to 100. You need to warm up a little bit. So the indirect approach, what I was able to do too, is throw some things out there, and it wasn't direct. It wasn't me being authoritarian. It was just throwing some things. Man, she listened. And because I showed her respect, she showed me respect, and she listened. And I will tell you this, I listened too. I learned, I promise you, I learned as much from her that summer. And we do it when she's in town. If I go visit her, we have a glass of wine. And I promise you, I learned more from her than she ever has from me. And when I do share the same with my son, the same way, no different than him. Now he drinks beer and drinks a little bit of whiskey. He'll drink a little bit of wine. But hey, to have a conversation, I'm not a big beer person, but to have a conversation with my son, I'll drink a beer. So that's my take on things. That's my take on what wine, whiskey, beer, coffee, or tea will add to your life. So every Wednesday, we're going to gather here. I'm going to have some guests stream in. We're going to gather here, and we're just going to talk over a glass of wine. So this is a Bonanza Cab. It's from the Camus family. It's the lowest end Camus. It's $20. And if you're familiar with Camus, it's a great wine. This is a really good. This is one of the better under $20 wines. So get you a glass of wine, have a conversation with someone you love, and we will see you. So tomorrow I air second episode. I have a guest good friend of mine, Joe Collins. He has promised me that he's going to join. He came live for the podcast that's airing tomorrow, but he promised me he's going to he'll stream in on a Tuesday for Two Finger Tuesday, and he'll stream in for a Wine Wednesday. So have a good evening, have a good day tomorrow, and tune in for episode 2 of the High Level Human Podcast. McGee out.